Don't you worry. That's not a boomer thing. It's inevitable whenever you're about to post something or you're deep in posting something, somebody will call on you. I see we have Darren up here. Hi, Darren. Nice to see you. Look, he's got his emojis going on. So you can unmute in the bottom left hand corner.
Yep. How's it going?
Welcome. Welcome to Twitter Spaces. I mean, I still don't call it X Spaces. It's going to always be Twitter to me. But this is the new town hall, and it is lots of fun. All right, guys, go ahead and start sharing out the room. Repost the space, bottom right-hand corner. Click on that, and then click on the arrows going around in a square. And we will get started here in about 3 minutes. Oh, there's Jen. Hi, Jen. Hi, Sally. I know you've been hanging out since we started. Nice to see you. This should be a very interesting discussion because we all love California and we are very sad to see what's going on there. Plus, it's too expensive to be dirty. I mean, come on.
100%. Sorry, I'm in the back channels trying to figure out how to get a few people that are trying to get in. So I'm concentrating, or I'd be laughing at your jokes.
Yeah, that's typically, but like I said, we kind of started early so that we could get everybody in here and get them comfortable with, the different mechanics of the space. So,
Kim, I can co-host if you want to send me the co-host.
perfect. Thank you. And I'm going to go and repost the space for a minute. So I'll be gone for a minute. So hey, hold down to 4.
Sounds good. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here. We are doing a space with people and candidates from California tonight. So if you guys know anybody in California, you should send them this space. Come talk to the candidates as before you get to the voting box and then have to decide. Hear what they actually stand for from their own mouths instead of what you hear on the fake news media. So we are happy at American Mission to host everybody tonight, and thank you for being here. Retweet the space and we will get going in a few minutes. If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand. If you don't know how to raise your hand, it's once you get on stage, onto the little heart with the plus at the bottom, and it's to the right hand side. Just press the little hand raise thing and we'll get you in here. And then we usually have a lot of people that want to get up and ask questions, so we will be rotating speakers on and off the panel. So if you're a speaker, not a candidate, a speaker who gets up to ask a question and we rotate you off, please don't take it offensively. We just have a lot of people that want to get on stage and ask questions, and we're trying to facilitate that the best we can. So just re-request and we'll get you right back up. And thanks for being here, everybody.
Yes, we have very little room tonight because we have 9 candidates that are going to be coming in here. So, and there's only 10 speaker spots, 2 co-host spots, and then the host spot. So at any given time, you can only have 13 people on the stage. And so it does get a little crazy sometimes.
I'm going to butt in for just a moment, and then I'm going to drop down to listener because I see now Jim Shoemaker and Tammy Nobriga are here, and Denise Aguilar. So if you could restate what you said earlier so they can hear how to go into the speaker position, now I will go away. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for helping us set all this up. We really appreciate you. If you're a speaker, if you're a listener down in the audience and you want to come up and be a speaker, if you just go to the bottom left-hand corner on your screen, you'll see a little request button. Press that button and we'll bring you up on stage. right away. So as soon as we can get everybody up, we're doing our best. But we do want the candidates to kind of have time to tell us who they are, what they stand for, and what issues they want to see change in California. Because Lord knows we need big change in California, and they have such an important, large voting population that they could be really powerful. And I know, being from New York, born and raised, that most of New York State is actually Republican, right? Like the upstate part, all of these other places are very Republican in New York. But because of the big cities like New York City and Albany and Rochester, they tend to push the whole state blue, and so many people get lost in the shuffle. So it's really important to bring out candidates who are in these Democrat districts, because I think everyone in this country, no matter what your political party is looking for some kind of change from what we've been having to deal with the past 4 years, but I mean, for much longer than that as well. So Kim, I'm not really, so I'm still driving. Sorry guys, I'm on my way back. I'll be back in a little while. So if it's a little loud, I'm sorry. And Kim, I'm not sure who exactly is a candidate right now who's going to try to get up on stage. And I know we have very limited speaker slots. So I'm going to let you bring up the candidates, and then we can start bringing up speakers once everybody's had a chance to introduce themselves and tell us a little about yourself.
All right, so far we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 candidates up on stage. We've got Roxanne, we've got Steve, we've got Tammy, we've got Alex, we've got Denise, we've got Darren. And then we've got our other co-host, Mr. Bobcats.
Yeah, hey, Kimberly, good to be on with you guys. Yeah, let me know how I can help, or I facilitate, or I'm just here to help out.
Well,
Awesome.
if you want to give like a brief overview of what's going on in California, and maybe you can introduce Denise, because Denise was integral in helping organize this with Tasha, so I'm super
Yeah.
excited about it. That would be really great.
Okay. So, Kimberly, are you in California too?
I am in sunny Florida.
Cool. Oh, right on. And then Jennifer's in New York, I heard.
Nope, I'm originally from New York,
Okay.
born and raised, but I actually live in Florida now. But Dustin and I do spend quite a bit of time in California, and we have done MAGA and Trump events at Huntington Beach, at Pasadena, and there was a couple other places that we've held events in California. So we're very familiar with California.
Cool. Yeah, no, I was born and raised in Southern California. I live up here in rural California, Sierra Nevada area, in Amador County. And yeah, I helped lead this X Town Hall for California. This group we have, we're just totally grassroots. It's all volunteer. We really don't have any agenda other than America First motivations, and we the people rising up, because as you're probably well aware, we can't look to politicians to save us. I know all these candidates are running to represent the people, which is really awesome. And so, yeah, our town hall group is really to try to be boots on the ground to connect patriots in their counties who are getting involved at their board of supervisors, and trying to be the change that we want to see. But yeah, I used to be involved in Assemble X California, and I kind of jumped over here because it's just a little bit more flexible for what I'm looking for. But yeah, Denise was on it on Assemble X one time. We had a great time, and I've met Darren before. Darren, give them each a couple minutes to see, introduce what district they're in, what area they're in, what needs they see, and kind of what they're wanting to bring, sort of in a hopeful way to see California turn around, because we definitely are a red state, and like many other states, we've been hijacked by these blue cities. These Democrats are very, or not even Democrats, the rhinos are working with them, but they've been very active behind the shadows to get their levers of control in place. And we're dealing with a system that has a lot of money, and it's all designed to keep the grassroots out. So I'm stoked to see a lot of these grassroots candidates that are really generating a lot of local support. So I don't know, maybe we could go around the table and
Yeah,
have
let's do
people.
that.
Cool.
Let me reset the room real quick. Welcome everybody. Please repost the space. If you don't know how to do that, it's the bubble in the bottom right hand corner. You click on that, and then you're going to click on the arrows going around in a square, and then share out the room, because that gets more people in here. So the more people that share it, the better. It doesn't matter how big or small your account is. It's really important that everyone shares out the room, because you never know who your timeline is going to hit. So it's really important. So Denise, let's start with you, and then we'll go around the room. Welcome, Denise.
Hi, thanks for having me. And you're going to hear background. I'm actually in the car driving to an event, but I'm excited that you guys are hosting this. I think it's really important for the nation to know not to give up on California. We are the plot twist to the nation right now. So I'm running for California State Assembly District 13. That's to represent Stockton, Tracy, and Mountain House. I have actually been working in the Capitol for almost 10 years. I've been working in legislation and policy at a state level, and my partner Tara Thornton and Freedom Angels, we write resolutions that have been passed around the nation. I got involved in politics in 2015 when SB 277 was introduced, and that removed philosophical exemptions to vaccines for children K through 12. And in 2019, SB 276 was passed that removed all functional exemptions. It went after our medical privacy, and it went after doctors who were taking care of vaccine injured children. So the vaccine mandate world was really where I began. When we saw how corrupt the California legislature was, colluding with state agencies like the Public Health Department and the pharmaceutical companies, getting upwards of $95,000 just to pass a bill. We knew the writing on the wall. We knew where we were going to be headed, and we actually enacted peaceful civil disobedience. So we locked down the Capitol for 11 days. We chained our friends to the doors of the Capitol building. There was arrest. We had people who were willing to stay overnight, and then we kind of shifted. In 2020 with the lockdowns, we knew that all politics is local. And so we started training people on how to get involved locally with their public health officer, and how to get involved with the board of supervisors, because they're really the ones who were forming policy for the county. And we ended up hosting some of the largest protests in the state at the Capitol. We were arrested, 32 people were arrested, and that was shortly before BLM started rioting. So the district attorney decided that they could no longer press charges against us, so the charges were dropped. And then in 2022, SB 866 was introduced by Senator Scott Wiener, a Democrat who represents San Francisco. And this bill would have allowed minors 12 and over to get vaccinated without parental consent, knowledge, or notification. We ended up working heavily with the California Democrats, both progressive and moderates. And we, with the relationships that we were able to build, and with the work people were doing around the state, we were able to defeat that bill. And that was the first historical defeat we've ever had in the state. And then in 2023, we had AB 659 that was introduced by Aguilar Curry, and this would have mandated the HPV shot for all children entering 7th grade and college entrance with no exemptions. We fought tooth and nail on that bill. We had meetings with Aguilar Curry. We negotiated, and we ended up defeating the bill. So that was the second historical defeat that we had in the state. Ever since then, we've just been working at state and local levels, building relationships with legislators, both Democrat and Republican. Because in California, if you don't have the support of the Democrats, you're not going to be able to get anywhere. So that's what we've been doing for the last almost 10 years. And now I'm working here to flip votes. I actually had the highest turnout for a Republican candidate since 2012. And I have the support now of Democrats, Republicans, and independents in my county. So the race is going really well. Nobody thought that I'd be able to do it. And we've just proven that at a grassroots level, you don't need the kind of money that the Democrat progressives had. That as long as you knock on doors and you talk to the community, that will give you the ability to win the race.
That is 100%. And so let me ask you, you said in 2019 they took away the exemptions?
Correct. They took away all functional exemptions. Now the state public health officer is the one that will decide if your child deserves an exemption. But at this point, oh, there's a lot of feedback. What is that? At this point,
Hey, Jim, you have a hot mic. I'm just gonna mute you. Thank you.
at this point, when that law passed, all the doctors decided to leave because if you write an exemption, your medical license will get dinged and they'll take it away from you. So it's extreme here. We saw AB 2098 that silenced doctors against the COVID information. And it's just been just year after year a complete attack on our medical privacy and an attack just on our individual freedoms. And now that we are able to build those relationships, we're actually working with some very higher ranking Democrats to fix the law, SB 132. This law was passed about 3.5 years ago by, again, Senator Scott Wiener, and it allows for men to transfer into women's prisons if they self identify as a woman. And now, through FOIA request, we know that there are 16 known pregnancies. We know that our tax money is being spent to provide Plan B pills to the women. We know that our tax money is being spent to provide condoms to the women. And now we're working on writing a bill to fix that because the law didn't meet its intent. So what we're experiencing here in California is the progressive legislators, along with Equity California and other strong arm lobbyists, are the ones who are forming legislation. And it's really the LGBT caucus that is pushing this type of policy, and they're extremely powerful in legislature.
Wow, that is
Yeah, it's totally insane. The medical tyranny and the evil that's just exploding out in the Sacramento Capitol is insane.
well, they do it with a small amount of people, right? And so you're doing the same thing, but for good. So I think that's it shows people that you can do it as long as you get out there and you serve the community. If you do that and you can be successful.
Here is holding town hall meetings so that way all of us can come to the table regardless of party lines, because at the end of the day, we're all experiencing the same thing. It doesn't matter if you identify as a Democrat or Republican. And from the conversations that I'm having with people here in my community, they feel politically homeless. They feel like the Democrat Party has went way too left. They feel like Republicans are the ones who are coming more in the middle. And so when I'm having these conversations, I'm knocking on doors, having conversations, I'm focusing on Democrats. I don't even knock on Republican doors because they know I'm here. They know that I know they're going to vote for me. But we have to start talking across the aisle because there's a lot of people out there that do want some kind of balance and course correction. They don't want what's happening in schools. They don't want what's happening with insurance companies. They want to be able to afford living in their home and just being a homeowner and owning a vehicle. And with the policies that are being pushed by these progressives, that's going to be almost impossible within the next few years. So I encourage everyone to, the Republicans will vote for you. Just go out there and introduce yourself. But we have to start talking to the ones who feel like the Democratic Party has left them.
100%. And there's never a better time.
And that's a great point. To engage with people not on a party basis, although obviously you're going to have to identify with a party in this system. But when you talk to people, talk on a policy issue, on a personal issue, and have a conversation. Because I think when we engage with people and we really listen to them and we have a conversation about these issues, the great majority of people will agree. And so this is a great, like you said, Denise, it's a great time to bring out both sides into a more centered constitutional framework.
I don't remember.
And correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but didn't it used to be the Democrats that would have the chicken pox parties?
Chicken pox parties?
I don't know. I just know parents would have the chicken pox parties. I don't know what political party they identified with, but we've went so far beyond science, and the science is settled, and it's really not. Science is never settled. And so when we have, Washington Post and New York Times and all of these mainstream media sites calling me an extremist or an anti-vaxxer, my political views, my personal views when it comes to vaccines is I want informed consent. I think everybody deserves informed consent. Doctors should be communicating this with their patients instead of gaslighting them. And parents have the ultimate say. Doctors are only there to give you advice. They're not there to tell you what kind of medical procedures to participate in. And so as California has went so extreme with their vaccine mandates, one of the things that we do as Freedom Angels and as a candidate is we encourage people to homeschool, and we understand not everybody can, but what we try to do is we help people build out enrichment centers and help them build out a model of what it looks like for parents helping parents. So that way we stop outsourcing everything. I mean, as Americans, we outsource everything. We outsource our education, our healthcare, our finances, our food. And so this election, I think 2024 is one of those very incredible years where we have an opportunity and a window to flip a lot of different seats and to really have the conversations of true food security, right? True education, true healthcare. And people are listening because 2020 really showed people that they can't trust the pharmaceutical companies and they can't trust our elected representatives to give them the advice that is true. And so it's up to us. Nobody's coming to save us. It's up to us. If you are just a regular person, run for office, do it at grassroots level and work with your community to get
Yeah,
help.
at the very least, get involved in your precincts. The Republican Party has been operating at half the power it should be. I know a lot of the seats have been filled in the precincts, but there is still a lot to be done, and there is always room for people who want to get out there and help. And I got to tell you, it helps with your anxiety and the worry that we face, and all the issues, to get out in your community and find like-minded people that are just, they want to fight for our country just like everyone else. I did want to check in with Alex, Dr. Alex, because I know that he is at the hospital, and so he's got to jump in and out. So I didn't know if you wanted to say something, or if you want to raise your hand when you're ready, or. So in the bottom left-hand corner, you can unmute your mic.
Yeah. Yes, Boomer finally figured it out. No, thank you for inviting me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, loud and clear.
Yes. Okay. Um, Thank you for inviting me and allowing me to participate. I'm done with my work shift. So if they call me, they call me. But I am Alex Balekian. I am born and raised in Glendale, California, Armenian, of course, son of immigrants, and a proud California Duke-Majan Republican for the entirety of my life. And what that means to me is keep the streets safe and clean.
Hello.
Oh,
You talk.
keep the streets safe and clean. Stay on my
Are
bank
we on?
account.
Yeah,
Sorry, Jim. Listen, we're letting everybody else go. So if you could just stay on mute and we'll call on you, please. Thanks, Jim.
I don't think he can hear Alex. So Jim, I'm going to
Okay.
drop you down, okay, and then we'll bring you back up.
Go ahead, Alex.
So I am a proud Duke-Majan Republican, and what that means is keep the streets safe and clean, stay out of my bank account, stay out of my family life. I am running for Congress for the seat California 30 that is being vacated by Adam Schiff. It is the first time that it has been open in 22 years. And I ran for this seat out of a combination of finally reaching my breaking point, but also I am a statistician and a numbers geek. And when there is no incumbent, that's the best chance that we're ever going to get to try to flip the seat. And I am running against Laura Friedman, who is a proud progressive. She started the Progressive Caucus in 2015. If you all have any bicycle lanes that are taking up traffic lanes or parking spaces in your cities, she is currently pushing through a bill that's going to mandate it and waive all of the usual environmental regulatory hoops that you have to jump through. So we've framed this, and I completely agree with Denise about saying don't speak to the Republicans because they're going to vote for you. Go out and integrate with the Democrats. And I'm speaking with people, and we're framing this not as a fight between Democrats and Republicans, but progressive versus non-progressive. And our message has become progressive isn't working. I, on my billboard, say that progressive isn't working. I also call myself fiscally responsible, socially sane. So people, one red line that I will never cross is voting for deficit spending. And I will never vote for a budget that spends more than it takes in. I think we'd be better off running this country like we run our own households, on a budget and with minimal interference from outside sources. So that is one red line that I will not cross. Also, I believe in lower taxes and smaller government and staying out of our lives. And as a physician, I believe in, as Denise said, maintaining patient autonomy, medical freedom. So I wholeheartedly disagree with vaccine mandates. I think that that should be left between a woman and her physician. But in the same way, I also don't believe it's the government's place to get into the abortion debate. I think that is a question between a woman and her physician. So we have been making inroads, and we have been building slowly. My husband is on the call. We have roped him into working on the campaign, and this is essentially the ways that we're winning this game, because people look at me and like, oh, you're a Republican, you're racist. I said, well, no. I said my parents are immigrants, and I believe in, cultivating industrious, skilled immigrants who are going to make this country better. And when they say, oh, you're a homophobe, I say, I'm not a homophobe, and neither is my husband. So the usual identity politics BS that they use to discount us has not been successful. And so we're making a steady climb. And we have, I think, 94 days now left until the election. So yeah, we are happy and energized and excited, and canvassing and wearing holes in the bottom of our shoes.
Right on.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you,
And
Alex.
Alex, I got a
Sure.
question, because my understanding is that Adam Schiff is a resident of Maryland. Have you ever looked into that? He's not even qualified, but I guess he's out of the picture because he's not even in your race.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you have to be. I think as a representative, you have to be a resident of your state,
Right.
but not necessarily of your district. That's why Maxine Waters, Mad Max, Inglewood's a rough place, but she lives in her multi-million-dollar home outside of Inglewood. And I think that he has a small condo in in the area here, but yeah, he lives his life in Maryland. And not that I want to talk about him, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that we are in a position that we are in as a country because our elected representatives start pledging more allegiance to the lobbyists and their best buds in Washington rather than to us on the ground. And that is what I want to. That is what I want to change. I
Right.
want to instill term limits. I want to give people frequent opportunities to engage and run for office, and I want to bring back the idea of the citizen legislator, who works their jobs and has real world life experience rather than these career politicians who live off of our tax dollars.
Yeah, amen to that.
I did want to, real quick before we go to Darren, I wanted to say welcome to all of our streamers on Rumble and Pill.net and Kick.com. If you guys have any questions, we are monitoring the chats and we will get them to the candidates. So please feel free to put your questions in the chat. All right, Darren, go ahead.
Give me a second. You come back to me. Sorry, you can go to Chris if you want.
All right, let's go to Chris.
Well, hello there, everyone.
Hey, Christine.
Hey, well, if you don't know me, my name is Christine Bish, and I am running for Congress in Sacramento, in California's 6th Congressional District. Before I jump into anything, first, Denise, you're a superstar. I cannot wait to see you elected. You are going to be my lifeline to California when I'm in DC. I can tell you that right now. With that said, we just brought up Adam Schiff. Yes, he is a resident of the state of Maryland. We are now up to 162 pages of evidence that I have submitted to the House Ethics Committee, and that is moving forward. In the next week or so, we should have a big press release on that. So what he has done by claiming to be a resident of the state of California to run for office versus being a legal resident of the state of Maryland, he's broken our laws. Not just election law, but voter law and mortgage law, his residency. We just saw in January,
You're you're kind of breaking up, Christine. Is your signal good? At least on my end. You
Yeah,
guys,
if you're transferring from a Wi-Fi to Bluetooth or anything like that, it will mess up your audio. You want to try again? Yeah,
let's see here. Better.
maybe we can bump her down and bring her
Yeah,
back
Kim,
up.
she might have to close out the app and come back because it's like not coming through at all, Christine. I'm sorry. We really want to hear what you have to say.
yeah. So if you just drop out of the app and then shut it down all the way and then come back into the room, and then you should be fine. And we'll go to Jim while we're waiting on you. Hey, Jim.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yay, we can hear ya.
Doing
Good,
great.
good, good. Well, thank you everybody for this opportunity and all that's being done throughout the nation, it sounds like. What we're doing here and in my circumstances, being involved for over 35 years, helping multiples of candidates run and trying to be involved and working at the grassroots level in that period of time and dealing with what we're dealing with in California. The frustration that we've all been talking about and how government, no matter what, keeps growing and growing and interfering in our lives. From my vantage point, from my background, working since I was 10 years old and running in multiples of businesses and starting businesses and employing people, to losing everything and starting over again. So what I have found is government is at the root cause of most of all of our problems. And with that, we have too many people that do run for office, forget what they're doing when they get into office, or they have ulterior motives to begin with. And that's part of the dilemma we're running into. You know, the America First philosophy is something I've been dealing with for 40 years, even down to driving all over the place to buy American made products. And what a hard time that is lately. But what we're looking at in California is what was mentioned kind of about New York. The majority of California is red. We have three major metropolitan areas that are fully blue Democratic, and they control most of the state. But in case, like looking at my race, where we encompass over 1 million people in this district, 4 congressional seats and 4 assembly seats, the mix and the dynamics of those that are within the district encompass every group of people you could have in the state of California. And from that, our work with working with everybody, not just any specific group, but everybody, because we're all citizens, and I mean citizens, not those that are here illegally, but the ones that are citizens of this state and nation. What we're focused on is protecting our children and our families. And our children, just like Denise was bringing up before, we've been working on that for years and years. Our education system is broken. It needs to be replaced. We need to have school choice. We need to look at the fact that money needs to follow the students so the parents can sit there and decide where they want to put those dollars in educating their children. We need to start looking at the fact that right now, with what these criminals did, uh, telling parents do not need to know what their children are doing and transitioning. This is all part of the pharmaceutical companies and others, I believe, that have taken a position that to make money, they need clients. To get clients, you need to indoctrinate. So by indoctrinating at such a young age, you're guaranteed to have clients for the rest of their lives with chemicals and other things that have been discussed. Our medical profession has been decimated. It has people in it now that do not sit here really represent the patient, but the pharmaceutical companies and the simplicity of I'll give you a pill instead of finding out what the root cause is. This also falls down into, for my campaign, flowing on the criminal part. We need to start locking up criminals again. We need to have prosecutions, and that's a big thing in this district. And then and then three, our economy. Our economy to the point that we cannot keep sitting here regulating everything to the point that we're telling our people that we need to conserve while they waste. Water, conserve water, but we're going to pour billions of gallons into the ocean. Conserve your electricity because we don't produce enough. The state of California had some of the most cheapest electric rates in the nation for years until the progressives took the state over. We need to increase power. We need to start using their natural resources we have in this state, and we need to drive that price down so that the average working man and woman in this state has the ability to raise their children, buy a home, and at least think about going on a vacation once in a while without the concern that they don't have enough. We have people working like crazy in this state, and they cannot make ends meet because of the legislature passing bills, running their mouths, and trying to control every aspect of what's going on. That's what I'm fighting. That's why I'm going. And the bottom line is we need more people that will take a stand, step up, and enter this battle. Because for us to flip this state, we need everybody's involvement. But in that, they also need to be educated. They have to understand what they're up against. We are up against a machine that's on both sides. A machine that at the top is warped and disgustingly criminal. We need to stand against that, and we need all the people to support and help us in that. And just like reaching out, we have so many people that we've reached out to in this campaign all over this district that are coming forward. I'm a Democrat, but I'm voting for you. I'm independent. We're supporting you. We are getting everybody from every walk of life to come up and start to see that we need to make a change. And we need to be sincere about what we're doing and looking at the fact that when we take that oath of office to the Constitution and the state of California, that we obey and hold ourselves accountable to that oath of office. And that's just kind of really in a nutshell, real quick, going over where I'm coming from. But my 40 years from businesses and everything else, the interference of government is the root cause of the problems we have. And we need to cut government down to the bare minimum and put all those people that are working for government back into the private sector and let them work upon the skills they have, or at least try to acquire skills to move forward. So thank you. And any questions, that'd be good.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, we talk about that a lot with the government employees and the staffers, right? The staffers that are in DC, they're a big part of the problem because they don't have to get elected, right? They don't have to be held accountable every 2 years. So it's important for us to look at the people that are working in these different agencies and really start trimming the fat. And also, don't let them be within the industry that they were working. Honestly, they need to go in.
We do not. Elected officials show up, relegate their position to these bureaucrats, and then unelected bureaucrats control everything that's done. You need to hold the state government, if it doesn't have mustard against the Constitution or liberties. That is critical for us to move forward. And I think at the same time, that part where in California we have all these different alphabet agencies that are controlling every regulations that CARB keeps coming up with. And it's like, I'm sorry, but I can't afford to go buy a truck. I use 6 months a year and I park the other 6 months. And you're telling me I got to get rid of it and go buy a $200,000 truck to you? How does that pencil out? It doesn't. And then at the same time, they tell us about, look at the CO2 in the air. Well, I hate to tell you this, but the more CO2, the more green the planet gets. So here's the deal. We're burning forests like crazy right now, and everything, all that CO2 going in the air. And you're going to tell me that my little pet tailpipe of my car is going to cause all the problems you're trying to talk about? BS. We need to stand up to that nonsense, and we need to sit here and start putting common sense back into this program. Eliminate those agencies now. We need, and I believe we have an opportunity, a very narrow window, I think, right now, that we could do that by getting all the other parts together and go in there unified, and we can accomplish that. So working across the aisle isn't a problem. I think there's probably still at least a few people up there we'd be able to work with and probably push that agenda so we can start changing this and putting the power back in the people's hands.
100%. You are so right, Jim. All right, so I'm going to go to Roxanne. Guys, please repost the space. So there's a little bubble down in the bottom right-hand corner. Click on that. And then you go to the little arrows going around in a square, and you can repost the space. We are going to be cycling people on and off. So if you have a question and you're not a candidate, please raise your hand. We do have some questions. Go ahead, Roxanne.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say thanks for doing this space, and especially to Denise, who has really been a real leader and a light on social media. I remember finding her. It was such a joy. The most important thing Republicans and anyone who wants common sense governance in California can do is to speak up, because too many of us, especially, and here comes my apology, I live in Los Angeles. And for that, I am sorry, because yes, it's 10 million people strong. And as LA goes, so goes California. And unfortunately, as California goes, so goes the nation. So it is vitally important that we support the efforts, especially in Los Angeles, but all over California, of all of our great candidates. I'm not a candidate this time. I'm actually the communications person and spokesperson for the Los Angeles County Republican Party, the largest Republican county party in the entire country, larger than 21 other states. There are more registered Republicans in LA County than anywhere else, I know, but there's also more Democrats. So we have to work to fix that. And we're doing a lot. Former Ambassador Rick Grinnell is doing a lot with that. But in LA, we have 24 of the 80 assembly districts. And the assembly is what we need to turn in order to have sane governance in California again. So we've got candidates made it to the top 2 in 21 of those districts. And of the 20 state Senate districts, right now we only have 8 elected Republicans. That means I can take the entire Republican Senate caucus in my minivan to 7-Eleven. And so that is unacceptable. We've got 4 candidates that made it to the top 2 out of the 5 we have there. So while I love my friends Alex and Steve, and all of you who are running for Congress, people don't understand how much their lives are being hampered and destroyed, and the country is being harmed by state assembly. So keep up the faith. Denise is right. It's the job of the party to turn out Republican voters. It's the job of candidates to speak to independents and disaffected Dems. And by the way, there are loads of them. COVID lockdowns showed everyone just how autocratic and tyrannical actual progressive governance is. So use that, take the opportunity to get people to agree with you. You don't need to debate people on who they're voting for president. But you do need to remind them that their lives have been made immeasurably worse by one party rule in California. So good luck to all of you. Please follow us in LA. We have the Got Public Safety campaign going, and anyone who wants to use the hashtag Vote Different CA or Vote Different LA, or hashtag Behind the Blue Curtain for all of those who understand that we are living in political guerrilla warfare. Please do. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Roxanne. Appreciate you and appreciate you being here. Although I do have to kind of disagree with you on one tiny little aspect of what you said. I do think we need people out there debating who's going to be our president. And I think that is more important right now than a lot of other things that we could be debating, because of the way our country is going. Yes, it is under like we do need to debate down ballot races, but we also cannot ignore the presidency this time around.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, don't
it's a
ignore the presidency. My point is that if you are a candidate and there is someone who's amenable to your position and they are not a registered Republican, you don't need to, like, that's not your job. Don't worry. I'm going to be crawling over broken glass to vote for Donald Trump. And so are lots of other people. As candidates in California, you need to help save California because that's what will give Donald Trump a better second term.
and you can talk
Awesome.
about
Thanks for clearing.
the policy.
Thanks for clearing that up, Roxanne, because I didn't want anybody messaging me and being like, "Oh, they
Yeah,
said we
no, no,
didn't have
no,
to
no,
pay
no, no.
attention to the presidency."
No.
Right?
I'm all in on the guy. I have a video and articles that I did with Robbie Starbuck for the last election. Worry not.
Hey, Roxanne, I had a quick question for you. So you said the assemblies are stacked up in LA, but what about the Senate? Because my understanding is that LA has what, like over 20 state senators, and between my rural county and I think the 6 surrounding ones, we have one state senator. So the rural areas don't have representation in Sacramento. Can you speak to
No,
that?
and by the way, yes. So state Senate, there's so the entire House. And by the way, this is I'm going to just jump in. The biggest shock I got when I ran a few years ago and went to learn from the California Republican Party about public policy. Do you know what they call lobbyists in Sacramento? You guys? They're called the third house. They act as if they are a body above we the people. That to me was horrifying. So public sector unions and special interests run Sacramento. So the House is made up of the Assembly, which is 80 seats, 80 districts, and the state Senate, which is 20 seats or 20 districts. 5 of them are in LA. And yes, the big divide is between rural and urban. And we have Brian Dolly, and then his wife Megan Dolly took that seat. There isn't enough power behind those guys because unfortunately what'll happen a lot of times, and we see it in DC, but people get to Sacramento and they are bowled over by the third house lobbyists who dangle money in front of them to get what they want.
Yeah, that's terrible.
All right, looks like we've got some questions. So let's go to conservative MAGA first, and then we'll go to window tech.
Thank you, Kimberly, Jennifer, for hosting, and Chris over there, X-Town. Great space. I'm glad I made it. I'm still working, so I got to be quick. Question. So I see so many candidates. I love this. I love California is finally kind of organizing, and I hope we can do this weekly more often with all the candidates. So I want to be able to help any candidates, especially if you're in my area. I can, stump around here and stuff like that. So if anybody's in my district, which is actually in like Sonoma County area, more like Santa Rosa and stuff like that, please DM me and friend me, follow me, whatever. I love to help out any way I can with donations and stuff like that. I do what I can. I've been kind of sick and in the hospital for a little bit, so I was kind of out of the loop, but back making lots of money again. So hopefully I can help a lot of you out. Make sure if you DM me and you need help and stuff like that, please kind of throw your bio in your DM so I can vet you before I start donating stuff, because America first, conservative, Constitution, all that stuff. Trump, definitely. Lastly, we can take back California. It's real easy. Precinct strategy, So that's the way to take back California. That is going to be the only way to take back California. We got to take back our precincts. We got to take back it through committee members. If your local GOP sucks, then you got to change it. All that means is get more of them than they have. So I'm going to land it there. Sorry for being long-winded. But please, this is really cool. Thanks for having this space, and I'm glad I made it. Look forward to hearing everybody, and let's keep the discussion going. Thank you.
I was going to say precinct strategy for anybody who's looking to get involved. precinctstrategy.com. That's where I started out. It is really a great resource. It can help you find your local party and get involved.
Can I just piggyback off that, as well as getting involved in your precinct or your local GOP committee, or just all you guys listening, even more than supporting these candidates, I would just try to really encourage everybody, if you're not already, to get to know your county supervisors, get to know your city council members, obviously get to know your neighbors. Just get out there, start talking to people, listen to people, and learn, because one thing will lead to another, and pretty soon you'll have connections and networks. And all of these people running, I'm sure they know that they can't do it without the support and the connections of people that are in their counties and cities, and really know what's going on, so that they can call you and get help. So don't underestimate the fact that just because you're not running doesn't mean, don't look to these people to save you. And that's something, that a myth that needs to be destroyed completely.
Yeah, 100%. And if once you get involved in your local party, it makes it so much easier to get to know your county commissioners, get to know your school board, because they come to those GOP meetings. They come to the club meetings because it's just such a great connector. So I really do. I highly encourage you to get involved in the party, even though we've always said there's issues with. Well, the issues are going to be resolved if good people get into the party. We've ignored it for far too long, so it's very important that everybody get involved. And I want to go to Darren real quick, and then we'll go to Window Pet.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. Here's my disclaimer. I'm not a politician. I've never been in politics. I'm a very real person, so there's my disclaimer and warning for the room. I never wanted to do this to begin with. Frankly, I still don't. But the reality is I was asked to by a number of people, Chris Bish included. And we have a system that is pervasive and absolutely filled with career politicians that have no other skills other than grifting off of civilians. The reality is we're supposed to have a system that is representation. It's supposed to be under Federalist number 10. It is supposed to be civilians doing basically a civic duty and representing the whole of the populace. I'm running in Assembly District 4 against Cecilia Aguilar Curry, who, if she had a fully functioning brain cell, she'd be halfway to having two, so she could rub them together, right? Jim made a comment about these people need to be done and go back to their jobs so they have any skills. They don't have any damn skills. These people are imbeciles. We keep electing imbeciles that have done nothing but grift and have careers in politics, and this is why we're where we are. And I have to address something that Roxanne said, right? Roxanne said, it's the job of the party to turn out votes and support their candidates. I want to tell you something. I have one person that really backed me hard, has the connections, made phone calls, and was told not only by the California GOP, but by several people, including Kevin Kiley and James Gallagher, that they won't have anything to do with me because even if I get elected, they cannot purchase my vote. This is the reality of the people in politics. Our GOP in the state of California is a joke. They are an absolute joke. Okay, I was at the GOP convention. They're backing guys like Bianco, Sheriff Bianco for governor, the guy who took a knee and knelt at the feet of Black Lives Matter protesters while they were burning his county to the ground. These are the people that our party is representing, not you, not the civilians in here, not the people that actually need changes. They're grifting. This is quite literally a scam. James Gallagher is their golden boy, the Assembly Republican leader. Go take a look at James Gallagher's financials. You know he donates to Act Blue. It's in his FPPC numbers, and they love him at the California GOP. Love him. I mean, this is a joke. This is really a freaking joke, to be honest with you. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here's my story. I'm former law enforcement. I was in legal consulting, had a full boat to law school and fucking hated it. So I had to do something else. Finished my master's in education. And now I'm finishing my doctorate in clinical psychology. And I very much look forward to returning to my life, because politics, especially in the state of California, seems like an unwinnable battle, especially when we're dealing with an establishment that nobody wants to put their finger on as being an establishment. We don't have two parties in this state. We have a uniparty in this state. They're all funded by the same lobbyists, the third house. They fund all of them. So frankly, it's up to the people in this room, the people that actually want to do something to change that, to quit the talk and actually put their feet on the ground, donate to candidates that they actually want to see change, or don't, and stop complaining. It's that simple. I'll land.
Thank you, Darren.
Oh, yes. Like, where did this guy come
Right? I
from?
knew you were going to love him.
All right. Hey, this is
Uh,
Chris Bish. Darren, I love you. And, everything he said is true. But there is still a silver lining out there in my district, District 6 for the congressional seat. Democrat voter registration has dropped below 43%. In California, Sacramento, California, Democrat voter registration, I'm going to repeat that, is below 43%. It's 42.7. Now, I am not going to be a cheerleader for the Republican Party, even though I am endorsed by the Republican Party, but I am also endorsed by the American Independent Party. The majority in my district is not Democrat. It is a coalition of Republican, independent, who tend to be angry Republicans or no party preference. And those are angry Republicans and people who have walked away from both parties. It is that coalition of people that are the voters, that are the majority, at least in this district. That is a huge win for California. Now, we're working with 3 different organizations on my campaign, and I've been doing this a little longer than Darren. So, I've built up the momentum, so I don't want him to lose heart because he knows I'm one of his biggest super supporters. But what I'm telling you is the tides are changing. And as the Democrats continue to go after our children, going after our paychecks, going after our energy, supporting the criminals, pushing vaccines, trying to destroy our families, the tides are changing. And my district, those numbers are right there on the Secretary of State's office, and we are picking up momentum. This is a very winnable race that is picking up national attention. So while we're bagging on the party, don't let that be the distraction. We've got to do our precincts. It's talking to everybody. It's knocking on doors. A lot of times the doors you did not expect to be on your side. We need to pick this state apart. We didn't get here overnight, and we're not going to get it back overnight, but we picked those districts where we can win. And that's when we come in and we take them over. Then we move almost like locusts to the next winnable district. This is how we take California back. And it is a message that is positive. It is a message full of hope. And as for the central committees, I'm right there with you, Darren. But my solution was both my husband and I ran for the central committee in Sacramento. We ran 2 full slates and we elected our slates. I'm hoping to see a change in the Sacramento GOP come January, but we're going to work through it, and we're going to do it with a positive message and winning races. That's all I got.
100%. And that you are so right. That is the way we do it. Boots on the ground, and just serve and talk to your constituents, talk to the people that are in your districts. And I think that there's never been a better time than right now. Window Pet, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I want to ask a question. I kind of want to piggyback too on what some of the other speakers have just said. So I live in Sacramento, California, and I live near the downtown. And, I am really concerned about the GOP. And right now, the Dems are handing them voters on a silver platter, and all they need to do is pick it up. But part of that is being organized and having a real message. And it's very discouraging because, for instance, We have a Democratic office, right? The main headquarters is on a street, a huge building, statue, you know where they are, you know who they are. The GOP office is on the third floor next to the state capitol. There's no signage. It's like they're hiding. I feel like, as somebody who lives in the city, I feel like all the GOP did is run for the hills and say, okay, we'll keep the counties, and you Democrats can keep the cities. That's what it feels like right now. I'm not saying that's the truth, but that's what it feels like. Um, so also messaging and marketing, I wish I could see more messaging and marketing from the GOP. What is their message? Where are the billboards? Why aren't people out there doing more meet and greets? Why aren't they out there registering voters, not just in comfortable places they're used to going, but in other spots where they're going to get those independents? There's a lot of people dying right now to have a party that speaks for them here in California. And I do agree with everybody about the grassroots approach. That's what I've been doing. I'm part of my neighborhood association. I've been very involved with my city, going to meetings, dealing with the defund the police people, with a group of neighbors and that sort of thing. So, I'm looking for candidates that I can get behind and I can support, in my district and in my state. But I need them to get out there and get that GOP money. There's a ton of money out there. I don't know where the heck it's going because I just don't see it. So if any of you candidates have anything to say about that, as far as the messaging, the marketing, the billboards, the whatever, just getting your face out there, getting the word out there. Where is this money? I see it, when I go to a GOP meeting or I go to a luncheon or an event, but I don't see it on the streets as an average person like myself needs to see.
Okay, I'm going to answer that for you. This is Chris
Okay.
Bish. Okay, the money that you see at the parties, that's what it's for. At the luncheons, at the meet and greets, they invest in raising more money. As far as billboards, signs, commercials, I can tell you, you are not going to see them from the current leadership with the California Republican Party. Now, the chair of the party, she's on her way out, but she won't be gone until January. I am backing retired Senator Mike Morrell to be the chair of the Republican Party. He's a hard worker. He votes. When he was in office, he would vote the way he spoke. He didn't say one thing and then turn around and vote another way just to get donor dollars. I'm sorry, I'm a Republican as well, but in Sacramento, our party is not behind us. They are not behind me. I've got the check mark. I've been endorsed. But the truth is, it's the independent party, the Republicans that are part of the California Republican Assembly. There's several other organizations outside of Sacramento, uh, Placer GOP, YOLO GOP. They are backing me up 100%. We're out there, and like I said, this didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to change overnight, but it is that grassroots going out and talking to people, not just sticking with the status quo. I understand your frustration, but the only way we're going to do this is a positive message. Anybody can regurgitate what is wrong. We all know what is wrong. We don't want this to be a pity party. In order for us to win in November, this has to be a message that is positive, that is a message of hope. And for the other congressional candidates that are on this space, if we expect Donald Trump to be successful as the next president, he needs to have a strong House of Representatives. And it is going to be that strong House of Representatives that releases us from another 4 years of what the Democrats did to make his presidency less successful in his first term. So we've got to get out there and support the Republican candidates for Congress. And the
So,
right candidates are going to be helping other candidates down ballot.
for
I
sure, Christine.
understand that.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. Appreciate you. 1 second. Okay, so I just want to reset the space real quick. We have exactly an hour left of the space. We are ending it at 10 o'clock. We do have different candidates from different levels of politics in California here represented on the stage. We are taking some question and answers. So if you guys have a question, come up on stage. And I also want to thank Scott Pressler for stopping by. If you guys in California do not know who Scott Pressler is, I don't know where you've been living, but Scott Pressler is the MVP of the conservative movement and the MAGA movement. And I would encourage everybody to be following Scott because he is really doing the work on the ground to get the grassroots mobilized. So everybody retweet the space. And if you'd like to come up, just please request. And we are trying to move people on and off as fast as possible. So thanks for being here. And I'm going to kick it back to or Kim real quick.
Yeah, and Tammy, I'm going to bring you back up here in just a minute. And Window, I'm going to take you down if that's okay. And then Conservative MAGA, you have a question, go ahead, and then
Let's also try to get some of these, whoever's a candidate, just so we make sure they all have a chance to speak up. Kimberly, I don't know if they all have
Yeah,
yet.
so Window, I'm going to move you down so we can get Tammy back up on stage. And then Kim, did you call on Conservative? Was that who you called on?
yes, Conservative, and then we'll go to Tammy.
Just real quick, and I'll drop. So I'm going to the Sonoma County Fairgrounds, and I'm going to be part of the GOP Get Out the Vote and registration this time around. I'll be doing that all day. Well, not all day, but after work tomorrow, I'll be going there and taking over the night shift for everybody that's been there probably all day. But hopefully, I can do a lot of registration. If anybody is in the area, please stop by the local GOP booth and give me a high five, But anyways, let's get out the vote, guys. It's the only way we're going to do it. And please, when the candidates come up, can you please tell us constitutional conservative, kind of do the talking points that some of us hardcore conservatives like to hear, because if I don't hear that, it's not going to catch my ear. And so I just need to know you stand for our Constitution. You stand for America first. You don't stand for the local GOP's mantra, some of them. Mine's pretty good. But anyways, drop now, guys, and look forward to hearing more of the discussion. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for being out there, guys. And if you are out at, was it the Sonoma Fairgrounds? Was that it? Conservative, are you still there?
Yeah, Sonoma County Fair is it's going on this next 2 weeks. So I think horse racing starts tomorrow. So, guys, if you guys are into horse racing, come on down. So, anyways, drop it there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. If you guys are out there, make sure to stop by the local GOP booth, and Conservative will be there. Go give them a high five. Maybe bring them a water because it's probably going to be hot as heck. So thanks for being out there. Appreciate you. So let's go to Tammy. Introduce yourself. Tell us what you're running for.
Hello. Hi there. I'm Tammy. I'm here in the Central Valley. I'm really near, I didn't catch your name, X Tower. Is that what it is? Because I know you're up there in Amador County.
Yeah, Town Hall.
And I was,
Chris.
yeah, I was just up there last Saturday at the Amador County Fair. So
Cool.
I'm actually from Pine Grove before I moved down here into the
I'm down here in
area.
Ione.
Okay, yeah. So I live in the Central Valley in between Linden and Lockford. So I'm very rural. Amador County is part of my district, as well as I have actually has 5 as well as Stanislaus, Sacramento, Calaveras, and San Joaquin.
Yeah, I did recognize. I've seen your sign around. I saw that. So that's cool.
Oh, thank you. So I'm a conservative Christian, and I'm running for Assembly District 9. My moniker is God, Family, Second Amendment, and America First. I'm all the way to the right girl. I've got 3 Trump signs on my property, proudly. I was a business owner in the marketing and advertising business, a marketing specialist, and a competitive gymnast when I was much younger. So I do have a little bit of an idea of how to accomplish a winning outcome. My focus is on child trafficking and parental rights. And I so agree with Chris that what we need to do in our campaign message is always try and bring a positive message. There's so many things that we want to do. We want same day voting, where we know that they're actually citizens. There's a lot of things we need to do, but I agree with so many people on this panel that we need to do it in a positive way, because that's the way we're going to get across to everyone, whether it's, the Democrats, independents, or the Republicans. So that's kind of my approach. I am very grassroots. I have signed an agreement not to take any money from from big tech or pharma or any PAC. So I am totally grassroots, and we all know how hard that is. It's like knocking on doors and going to the fairs and just being out there and, just seeing as many people as you can in rural areas. That's not really all that easy. But I'll tell you what, in my area, there's so many just down home country folks that it's just refreshing. I can drive down a road that'll take, 5 minutes to get down. And when I get to the end of that road, it's someone that's always going to say, "Hey, thanks so much for coming by." So our our effort together, I think, is so important. I think there's a lot of issues, on the table. We don't want boys and girls sports. There's a lot of things that we need to discuss, but I think we need to stay positive, and that's what I'm doing. I'm actually, I've got letters going out to all the churches in the area, because I'm not sure if you know, but it's one of the lowest percentages of voters are Christians. So it's like we need to get these people out there and say, if you're going to think about these things, and if you're not happy about what's going on in California, you need to step up and start voting. So that's kind of my approach. I'm looking for common sense legislation. I'm looking to get into Sacramento, and probably they're probably not going to like me very much, but that's okay, because we need to take care of our kids, and we need to take care of what's right. And that's what I'm here to do. It's not, we just can't accept this radical progressive ideology anymore. I mean, we're Americans and we're Californians, and we need to stand up for our state and our country rather than leave it. And that's what I'm here for. A lot of people are leaving it. I mean, as you know, Chevron just announced today that they're leaving as well. So we need to keep people here, and we need to get it back in shape again. And I was born and raised here, and I know how good California can be again. So together, I'm sure we can all do it.
Thank you, Tammy. You said something really important about the Christians voting, and that has been a talking point of the left lately, where Donald Trump had said, just please come out and vote. You never have to vote again. When they took that and turned it around to say, oh, we're never going to have another election because he said you never have to vote again. He was saying, I know you don't vote, but if you could please come out and vote this time, I won't ask you to do it again. And so we need to reinforce that. We do need to encourage our Christian friends to come out and vote and make this. We got to be too big to rig.
I
So Kim,
absolutely agree.
that's yeah, Tammy, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Did you want to continue? Because I know Anastasia is in California and she would probably have a question, but if you want to continue, Tammy, it's totally up to you.
I can take a question. That's fine with me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I really love your platform and I'm happy you're here. Thank you. Anastasia,
Thank you.
jump in.
Yeah, hi. So everybody seems to be up north. I'm actually in the lion's den of Santa Monica, where there's plenty of Ukraine flags and fuck Trump signs. And that it's really hard to date here because everybody is on the wrong side of politics. But at the same time, we do have a group of, I was in a women's group who were, and not anti-vaccine, but we didn't take the vaccine, and we wanted to sort of have like-minded people to hang out with. So I met a few pretty, amazing people, mostly sort of fighting the loss, suing for different things, like this bill that we have against the parents. So there is a group of people here. But what I really don't know what to do is I don't really know what's happening here as far as precinct stuff. What I can do. I've been trying to just talk to people in general. That's kind of what I've been trying. Whoever I meet. I also met someone who's running here who's very nice. I was at a coffee shop and she came up to me and I can't remember her name. I'm looking for her card if anybody knows, female, I think her first name starts with an M. I'm trying to find the card. But if anybody has information about what I could do down here, I also wanted to ask about what's happening with Steve Garvey, because I saw a poll that where he was below Adam Schiff and then where he was above Adam Schiff in votes. So if anyone knows about this area or what's happening with Steve Garvey, I'd love to hear it. Thanks.
Well, Anastasia,
First,
I think you need to hook up with Roxanne Hogue, who was up on stage earlier, because she's communications director for LA GOP. So that's a good
Oh,
connection.
okay. Do you have her?
I'll
Could you
send you her
DM
information.
me?
Yep, no problem.
I'll bring her
Thanks,
up right
Kim.
now, but she's on this space.
Oh, she's here, but
also
not in the
precinct
speaker.
strategy. I think
Okay.
precincts
All right, hey guys, I'm
strategy
gonna have
might
to
be a good
move
place.
some people off stage.
Thanks for inviting me, Jen. It's great to see you and Kim.
You're
And
welcome,
so,
Anastasia. Appreciate it. But if you are a candidate, please don't move off stage because we're the one. You guys are the center of the show right now.
and
So we're just.
Steve is
Hi,
a
Anastasia. Welcome. So here's I can tell you real quickly. We have some Los Angeles folks out of I think it's Patriot Precinct Project, but we have a lot of volunteers working there in Santa Monica. The Santa Monica Republican Women's Federated is big and strong, and they're actually opening a headquarters. But you can find all this because LA is so big and spread out, and it feels impossible. So if you go to lagop.org, we actually have a calendar, and we ask everybody who's in the LA area or bordering it, if you have an event that people from LA can get to, send it to us and we'll put it on our calendar. And then that way, that's how I found other people. I thought it was just my husband and I were the only Republicans within like 1,000 miles until I found, I had no idea. So we've got events listed there all the time, especially when there's a debate or the RNC was happening, people had watch parties. So we will get you hooked up. I had already DM'd you before they mentioned it, but you are not alone, and we will get you connected.
Okay, do you have to follow me to DM me or?
I DM'd you, so you can
Okay.
also follow GOP Los Angeles is on the call. Our
Oh,
communications
where's
arm.
that?
So yeah,
Oh,
it's a little red
okay.
circle with a palm tree in it.
I just have to give you one interesting thing. I saw in the Pacific Palisades at the supermarket, I saw a Trump merchandise stand, and I
Yes,
saw some people at the Palisades farmers market on Sunday that had a booth. And
they're there
also,
every Sunday. Yep.
oh, is that you guys?
So it's a club. So we have 180 clubs in Los Angeles. Obviously, 168 Central Committee members aren't going to be able to cover the whole place. But for the rest
Okay.
of you on the call, I just want you to know how inhospitable a place Santa Monica is.
Yeah.
Anastasia's not kidding. I actually was invited to speak at a Santa Monica College class for people 65 and over. And I got pretty thick skin. I've, been at this for a few years. I go into the lion's den all the time, and these old horrible former hippie liberals made me cry. They were so nasty, questioning my racial identity and my sanity for supporting Donald Trump. So Santa Monica, not a fun place until you find your people. So we'll hook you
Well, it
up.
is a fun
Awesome.
place,
Well,
but it's a fun place
so,
that's beautiful, but it's not politically fun. Um, but
hey,
just want to say one more thing. I did see a Trump merchandise kiosk in Brentwood as well.
Yeah, we're all over, man. And there's Trump rallies in Beverly Hills. This tomorrow, Saturday, there'll be another one. I can if you write me back, I'll try and find the flyer and send it to you.
Okay, I was actually at the Trump rally in Beverly Hills before 2020, and that was massive.
awesome. Thanks, guys. Sorry, we just have like a ton of people, and I still have one more candidate who hasn't spoken yet. So I'm just trying to get through everybody, not trying to be rude here. But Kim, I noticed that X Town Hall has a purple dot next to their name, which means they can't speak. So you might want to drop them down and then re-co-host them. But I also noticed Steve Williams, who is running in, I believe, Congressional District 43, if I got that right. He hasn't spoken yet. So, Steve, we'd love to give you a chance to speak. Go right ahead.
Great. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Great.
you, sir.
And Anastasia, the woman you were speaking about is Melissa Tooman. She's running for Congress in the 36th district against Ted Lieu. Also, in addition to the Santa Monica Republican Women, there's a West LA chapter of the California Republican Assembly, the CRA, that meets in Santa Monica as well once a month. So you want to reach out to them because they're connected to our precinct project operation, which is down in Long Beach, and they can connect you with a precinct people that can help you with walking your blocks and whatnot and getting other volunteers to help you. But
Could you
thank you
do me
guys.
a huge favor? Because I don't have a pen right now. Could you DM me that?
Yes, I'll DM you all that information.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, everyone, thank you for having me this evening. My name is Steve Williams. I am running for Congress against Maxine Waters for California's 43rd Congressional District. And much like everyone else on this call, I am running a grassroots campaign to kind of address the fundraising issue. It's been very challenging for myself in a district that's D plus 29, and also my predecessors who ran against her. It made it difficult for future fundraising for Republican candidates in that district. So it's been challenging, and I've been left with just a grassroots campaign. So with that said, I've been implementing a door knocking strategy, phone banking, social media strategy. I attend as many town halls, city council meetings, planning commission, any type of commission meeting in the various municipalities that are within my district, which spans from Compton, Watts, South Los Angeles, Inglewood, Hawthorne, Lawndale, Gardena, and North Torrance. And so with that, we've made a lot of progress. I've spent the previous year already talking to the Republican base from the various CRA chapters in my district, as well as Republican Women, the Lincoln Club, the NRA chapters, the California Rifle and Pistol Association chapters, and so on. But more importantly, as everyone else has mentioned, I've been reaching out to Democrats and even hardcore Democrats. You can imagine in Maxine's district in South Los Angeles, I'm standing in front of a room full of Black Democrats who have voted for Maxine for the last 33 years. And just like Roxanne has faced scrutiny about her racial identity and how I can be a Republican, I've had to answer questions as to how are you as a man of mixed race, Black, Filipino, and Mexican, how are you a Republican? And I have to first start and say, look, my core values and my political ideology is I believe in individual liberty, economic freedom, and personal responsibility. And I believe those are the three pillars of the conservative party. And so I break it down to them what each of those mean and how that affects their daily lives. But more importantly, what I think that happens, especially at the federal level, at the congressional level, is far too many senators and House of Representatives feel that local issues don't pertain to them. I hear Maxine often in town halls say, hey, you need to find out who your state assembly person is, who your state senator, who your county supervisor is. But what she fails to discuss, and what I think most members of Congress fail to do, is take an approach on how they can handle and address and aid local issues and coming up with solutions from the federal perspective. For instance, in my district, we have the largest RV encampments. We have over 550 RVs in my district, and several issues that are local, but also our federal issues are there's child and sex trafficking going on there. There's drug dealing going on there. And more importantly as well is we have 9,000 gallons of human waste flowing into the Santa Monica Bay because of these RV encampments. So each of those are a Homeland Security issue, a Drug Enforcement Agency issue, and an EPA issue. So I look at each of these local issues and how the federal response doesn't mean throwing tax dollars, but just how do we, from at the federal level, assist the state and the county and the cities wherever we can to address these local issues. And that takes being in the district. So I, for one, do not plan on spending much time in DC. I don't care for K Street. I will not be beholden to any lobbyists. I will not be beholden to any political party leaders. I'm beholden to the constituents of the 43rd district. And so therefore, my strategy is to open up 5 district offices in the congressional district and staff those with 2 people in each district, in each of those offices, and spend the majority of my time in the district and fly back to DC and stay in a hotel and not live there and only be there when I need to be there to vote and be in session. I feel that people like Maxine Waters, the career politicians, I'll give you an example of showing up but not being present is the latest debacle in Inglewood with their transit connector. Originally, she supported it at $1 billion. Of course, it's inflated to $2 billion because of everyone getting their kickbacks. And so what's happened is now she's against it. And her quote is, "I wish I would have knew more earlier than I do now. Otherwise, I would have been against it." Well, that's because she only appears at community events or whatnot for photo ops. And that is the problem with various levels of legislators. And that's something that I have no interest in doing. I am strictly here for the people. I am all for term limits. I will do no more than 8 years, which is 4 terms. And that's one of the other things I campaign on as well. And I'm getting a very good response. The only negative reaction I get from the community is that I'm a Republican. So that's another job that I do as being an ambassador of the party, showing them that what the mainstream media and the Democratic Party and liberals, the narrative that they've painted for the conservative party for the last 50 years is untrue. And slowly I'm winning hearts and minds, and it's just day by day, one person at a time. And I think that if not this election cycle, definitely the next election cycle, I can make it happen.
Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate everything that you're doing. And guys, if you look up in the nest, which is above our heads, you'll see the first post that's there is a list of all of the candidates from today. It's got their X handle as well as their donation site. So please, consider donating to them because it is grassroots. Any little bit can help. So that's there for your convenience. And then I want to go to Chris before we go to Darren. So Chris, I know you had a question, and then we'll go to Darren.
Kimberly, we also have Yvette Corkian. Oh, it looks like she's speaker now. Cool, because she's running in the San Francisco.
Yeah, can we let Yvette speak real quick since she hasn't spoken yet?
Do you mind if I follow up on what Steve said? I have a question about that. I'm sorry. I can wait.
Yeah, go ahead and ask your question, and then we'll get to Yvette, and then we'll go to Chris.
I appreciate it. So, I mean, Steve said a lot of things, and look, you seem very nice, and this is really respectfully. This is one of the things I absolutely hate about politicians and stump speeches. I'm dying to know, if you're not beholden to any major interests or major donors, how you're going to budget for $2 million a year in expenses, having 5 offices, weekly flights, a year's worth of hotel fees in DC that's not in an area where you're going to get shot at on a nightly basis, and two staff apiece. Like, can we please just be like serious and genuine about this if we're going to have these conversations? This is part of the problem with politics. It's just absolute hyperbole and nonsense. Let's be genuine. Like, you just proposed $2 million budget. Let's be serious.
And yes, Darren, you're correct. Actually, the budget's on average is 1.9 million, of which allows a staff of up to 18 people. And when you look at the budget and how you lay out and what you do, most of their money that they're spending out of that 1.9 million has to do with travel and entertainment that has nothing to do with the district. So I'm going to use that budget to do something for the district.
And where does that money come from, Steve? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, well, that money is allotted by Congress. It's already appropriated. Annual basis is appropriated, and it's going to be appropriated whether I vote against it or not. So I better use it for the best way possible, which is for my district. Why should I use it for travel and entertainment to Israel, travel or entertainment to the Olympics or whatnot, which is what our career politicians do? Maxine Waters flying all over the place to go on NAACP Gala Awards with her staff of 18 people already, which is mostly in DC.
Wow. Yeah, so I think he answered the question very well. Go ahead.
Then maybe that explains why we've got a $35 trillion deficit in this country, other than the Federal Reserve. But yeah, no, that's
There's
awesome. I love it.
there's a lot we could bring up about different slush funds that Congress has, like the ones for sexual assault are the ones I'm really concerned about. But that's a different story for a different
And let me just
day.
add this one last thing for
Well,
Darren.
hold on, Steve. If you can make it really quick, because
Yeah, it's
Yvette
real quick.
is a
It's
candidate
very
and
quick.
she hasn't spoken yet.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to be fair to
Darren,
everybody.
just like you said, in terms of the DC trips and whatnot, that will come out of my own personal budget, because if you look at $174,000 a year salary, that's $14,000 a month before taxes. So after taxes and whatnot, I think I can afford to go ahead and use frequent, flyer miles and whatnot. $14,000 a month is more than enough for me to get by on, and I'll be fine with that coming out of my own personal budget.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. All right, Yvette, jump in here. Tell us about yourself and where you're running.
Oh, so Yvette, it's the bottom left-hand corner is where you unmute your mic. Oh, we lost her.
She might have had that thing that happens where you can't unmute. So hopefully she'll just close out and come back up.
Yeah, we'll go to Chris
Sorry
while we're
about
waiting.
that.
Well, first I want to thank our two beautiful hosts for this space. And I'm not
You
from
saying I'm not beautiful?
I mean, you are beautiful, but you're not a host.
I'm a co-host, but whatever, it's cool.
Oh shit! I didn't know that was you talking. I'm sorry.
No worries, bro.
I'm not from California, but I just wanted to come in this space because I wanted to see what conservative candidates were talking about for California. I don't really hear about any conservative anything from California, but I had a question for Alex and Darren and Steve, because all three of you, I think, brought it up. I'm in favor of term limits. I'm in favor of federal term limits as well. But my question was, if I recall correctly, like federally, there's, I think, one time it was tried. So there's not really a whole lot of precedent for it. And I was wondering what your state constitution was like as far as how difficult it would be for you to get term limits in California too. And that's it. And you can bring somebody up if they're running or whatever or want to talk. That's all.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you. Let's go to Angela, and then
Well, wait, Kim, give him a chance to answer the question.
I can. We have limits in California Assembly, and I think the Senate's the same. It's a 12-year limit on each. The problem isn't necessarily the term limits. It's that there's no limitation or restriction that these people go from the Assembly Hall or the Senate end up in lobbying firms where they're making obscene money, or bureaucracies where they're taking water from farms and doing the stupid shit that we're seeing on a regular basis in the state.
This is Christine. I have to jump in on the term limits question. California does have term limits, and I'm telling you, I believe it is, I was in support of it, but now I believe it is the worst possible thing we could have done. Because there is a term limit every election. For Congress, it's every 2 years. You have the opportunity to vote someone out of office. It's what's happened in California is now the bureaucrats are in control. So just as an assembly member or a state senator, they start getting their feet wet, they know what they're doing, they've amassed seniority, and then they're out. So what it's done is it's made them just pad their pockets till they move on to the next race, and it leaves the unelected bureaucrats in charge who are just funneling the candidates through. Like I said, I changed my mind as I got to see how this really works. So I'm going to tell you, term limits is not what anybody else wants. We need to get rid of it in California. And what needs to change in California is this jungle primary where it is the top two candidates, and often it is the top two Democrats. By changing the way party, libertarian, independent party, that's when people are given a real choice. But by tying the hands and putting bureaucrats in charge, you are making a mistake.
Term
I
limits for staffers.
I think maybe I should have been a little bit more clear when I say term limits. I don't mean term limits as in uh, like you're saying every 2 years in California you get to vote them out or not. I mean term limits as in you can only serve 4 years and that's it, period.
It's the same. What I'm saying every 2 years is for every member of Congress across the country.
Right.
We're up for election every 2 years. But what I'm telling you is we have term limits in California, and it has created more havoc than you could possibly know because the unelected bureaucrats don't have term limits on their employment, only the elected officials. So you get the same people in there that's hurting the politicians through. It's a good idea on paper, and in practicality, it has cost California and California residents dearly.
We need term limits on the staff. We need term limits on government employees that you can only serve in the government for a certain amount of time, and then you've got to get your butt out of there.
So
I agree with Kimberly. I agree with Kimberly because the Peace Corps, for example, this is Alex Balekian running for Congress in District 30. The Peace Corps has a 4-year limit of your participation because they want to bring in fresh minds and voices. Getting rid of term limits for members of the state legislature is not going to be helpful. You have to put in term limits for their staffers. Again, Dianne Feinstein at 90 years old, she wasn't running her show. It was her staffer that was doing it who'd probably been there for 2 or 3 decades. And people who say, oh, well, no, these staffers need to be there because they know how the process works. And if you get rid of them in 6 years, for example, then it's going to be complete chaos. I'm a physician, right? We were taught in a residency how to save a life in 3 years. A 6-year term limit for staffers is just fine.
I agree
thanks,
100%.
Alex. Go ahead, Kim.
I was just going to say, I agree 100%. That's where we're missing the ball game there. We need to have limits on how long you can work for the government and have that sweet, sweet job. Because right now, you can't fire them, and so they just keep on sucking off of the establishment, and they're the ones that run all the blackmail schemes. So that's really, we got to cut out that poison.
Let me just add a point. If you're not getting involved with your county elections, I highly encourage you to talk to your supervisors. If they're able to monitor their machines, a lot of these counties don't even have their contract. They're not even allowed to look at their digital images in their machines. So just want to put a plug in for getting involved and having accountability from your county about election machines and talking to them about in-person paper ballot, same-day elections, precinct level. We've done calculations. I'm involved in the new California statehood movement. We've done them. They're like pennies on the dollar. And this can be done in one day, and we can vote these people out. Like we all know, California is red, but we're dealing with a corrupt, rigged election system, and I don't want to get advisors to get involved and understand their election machines because these people are not being held accountable. I'll stop there.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Kim, I know a great way we've been having people get involved is the Early Vote Action app. Do you want to tell people how to download that? Because I think that could be really effective in getting people involved in this next election.
Oh my gosh, if you guys don't have the early vote action app, it is fabulous. There is opportunities in there for you to send text messages. There's opportunities for you to make phone calls where the script is right there in front of your face on the phone. It's really cool. Also, you can do door knocking. It tells you where Republican houses are. It tells you, the makeup of the house, how often they vote. So if you haven't downloaded it, it is Early Vote Action app, and it is a great tool uh, that we put together, that Scott put together, and if you like I said, if you haven't gotten it yet, it is really really awesome, and it's different than some of these other ones that the campaigns use, like this campaign sidekick, and depending on where you're at. This one, you can do it all over the country. So then you can get with Scott, and he's got a team, and you can come up with surveys or text messages that you want to send out to people, and everybody all over the country can do it. So definitely do that.
Hey, Kim, you can go ahead and drop me down.
Okay, we'll drop you down, and then let's go to Angela because I know she's got a question.
Hey guys, thanks for letting me speak. Actually, it's not really a question. I'm actually thinking about moving to California. I live in Texas. My dad lived in Temecula when I was growing up. I spent tons of time in California, and then I have a girlfriend from high school. We've been friends for 30 years who lives in Camarillo. I just got back from there, spending 10 days on Monday. We love Santa Barbara and Pismo, but she wants me to move there, and I told her she's a liberal, and and most of the people that she's around are liberals. Now, we did get a chance to talk and at different functions and different events that we went to, and they actually think a lot like me. I think the main thing was like the abortion. It seems to be where all of these people kind of fall down on, is where the abortion thing. But I would love to get involved there in the politics there, and I just don't know, how do I go about doing that once I move there?
Precinctstrategy.com, or you find your local GOP, which that's where precinctstrategy.com comes in. They have a list of all the different GOPs by county. You can get there. It'll take you to their website.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, California really is a beautiful state. I mean, it just is. It's beautiful. It really, really is. And but you can tell it's mostly red. Even Crystal told me Ventura County and up, where we were going in Pismo, it is more. It seems to be more conservative, at least independent or moderate. So I think there's hope for California. I really do.
Well, and you also have the large Hispanic population that's there. They are really starting to feel this illegal immigration, because that's where a majority of the illegal immigrants go, is to their communities, because they can blend in. So I know I have several coworkers that are in the LA area, and they've been really kind of piping up to say, hey, this is getting really bad. So there's never been a better opportunity for us to reach across the aisle, and just talk to people about common sense things. That's really what we need to get back to.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for letting me speak. And I don't know how to drop down, but if you want to drop me down, that's fine.
Okay, we
Thanks,
will.
Angela.
Thanks.
All right, let's go to Red Pill, and then we'll go to Window Pet, and then back to Anastasia.
So I am a resident in Butte County, and I don't know if all of you guys realize, like, we're burning on fire right now. Like, the smoke, the air quality is absolutely horrendous. My problem is, being a Republican, all of this identity politics, it was very disgusting to me. I think that I lead with, I am a Christian conservative Republican, and I stand strong on that. But I find that the party is absolutely repulsive right now because they don't represent me. So my question is, for all of the candidates, which I am on the back channel every day, busting my butt to support two candidates, Chris Bish for Congress and Darren Ellis for Assembly District, the lack of support that these candidates are getting from the local GOPs. I mean, I've called GOPs and they won't even get coalitions to walk districts for Darren Ellis. Darren is at a head spin right now trying to raise $5,000 by Tuesday for his candidate statement. And it's so hard. So my question is, how are we going to take it back? And don't say the Central Committee, because I was asked to run for the Central Committee in Butte County because I was wanted to be their token Negro, right? So I go to the meeting, I speak in my space, and they're like, oh no, we just want you to sit there and be pretty. So my question is, like, are you guys willing to like support your candidates locally? Like Chris and Darren and all these other candidates, I respect it, but we as Californians, we need to step up and start supporting them and also calling out our elected officials. I had to go off on James Gallagher because he would not even address the fire. Darren drove up from Winters and raised $1,500 to feed firefighters that weren't being fed, and nobody is even looking at the counties. 4 counties are on fire right now. So my thing is, I get it. Everybody wants to be positive. Chris is like the yin to my yang because I'm not positive. I'm pissed. I'm a pissed mother of 5. And I just want to know, are you guys ready to take back the GOP?
Great question.
Chris, and yes, I am. And the positive is not the yin and yang. It's I can regurgitate the negative all day long. It is what motivates me. The open border, the economy, the fires, you name it, all of these mandates. I've sued the governor. The mask mandate was lifted because we were winning, and Harmeet Dillon was representing me in that lawsuit. I've sued over the election systems with election integrity. I've been very involved with New California, and you name the grassroots effort or the lawsuit, and I probably have my fingers on it somewhere. But what I'm telling you is the negative is not what's going to get more people on board. It is hope, and it is how we are going to fight it. And it is building the coalition of people, registering voters. And we already talked about Christians not voting. Did you know that 1 in 3 people in California are gun owners, and the majority of them are not registered to vote? The numbers are actually lower than people who attend church. It is a positive message of hope because nobody wants to get on a pity party. We have to talk about the good things. We can regurgitate the bad. Most of us know what it is. Now it's time to move forward. And as far as the firefighters go, we were able to confirm that multiple things were going on. That we have what's called a supply chain issue. That is what the commands in the fires are telling us. Is the governor flat out lied about saying CAL FIRE has everything they need. They're behind on all of the supply chain, from fuel to food to water, you name it. And that's why everything is burning, is because we have a huge budget deficit. And that's what they cut in a state that's a tinderbox because of what the Democrats have been doing.
Yeah, and I'd like to dovetail on what Christine said in terms of getting out there in the grassroots and staying positive. Tim O'Reilly for LAGOP has an excellent presentation that explains the Republican Party apparatus. And you have your local county, you have your central committee, so on and so forth in the state. But where the real work is, and what Christine was trying to say, comes in those Republican clubs. It's all of those grassroots clubs. It's the Republican Women Federated. It's the CRA chapters. It's somebody who starts their own club. And what we have to do as a party, what we haven't done in decades, is we have to build that army. And that's where Scott Pressler comes in and with his strategy. And look, the Democrats have the unions. The Democrats have the lazy college kids that just want to get paid minimum wage and get high. What we have to do is we have to build out those clubs at the local level, wherever we are individually, get more membership in each of those CRA chapters, Republican Women chapters, help start new chapters, because that's going to be our army long term. This isn't just for 24 cycle. This is for the cycles for the next 100 years. And so that's what we need to do, is get out there individually and keep that positive message to motivate people to get involved into these clubs, to be that army we need when it comes time for elections, to knock on doors, make phone calls, etc.
Hi, I just wanted to comment also. It's Alex Balekian over in District 30. So I just wanted to say a comment to Red Pill over there in Butte County about, why isn't the GOP helping the people here? I didn't get full-throated support from my GOP, and we had to prove ourselves. We hustled. I
Absolutely.
invested my own time, my own resources, my money. And the unspoken secret was GOP was not backing me because I'm a gay man, and I also don't believe it's the government's responsibility or the government's role to outlaw abortion. Okay, and so that's fine if we disagree, but they said, okay, we're not going to full-throatedly support you. We kicked ass in the primary. We came in second unexpectedly. And because of that, you cannot argue with success. So when you say,
Bingo.
why aren't people helping? You need to show that you have skin in the game and that you've created success on your own efforts before somebody else says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and bet on you too.
Well, I think a lot of people that have been fighting at that local level have been getting burned by their representatives. They don't get the support. So I get the fatigue. But yeah, we just got to keep getting tougher, stronger, wiser, and more connected. It's the critical mass. We're gonna reach it. We just gotta. I like it. I like how people are saying, just keep going, keep your head up, keep positive, embrace what's right and what's true, and we're gonna be unstoppable. We just gotta keep going. So yeah, it's great.
And when you're talking to people, who may have different views than you, one of the things that I've found that's really helpful is ask them questions and have them answer the questions. I think that that's one of the best ways for you to break through and show the common sense is by asking questions. So, all right, let's
Hey,
go ahead.
hey, Kim. Real quick, we have about 15 minutes left. I put the next space, conspiracy space, up in the nest. So if you'd like to come to that, you can set the alerts there. And we are really thankful for everybody coming here tonight. And we'd love to do another one of these spaces before the election and get more people in here. And if you guys need anything from America Mission, please let us know. We are happy to help all of you candidates who were out here tonight and came up on stage, and any America First candidate and pro-Trump candidate across the country. So thanks for being here, everybody, and we will continue, but we are closing at 10 o'clock.
And if you're not following America Mission, please follow America Mission. It's the flag there, the United States flag. Our goal is to get people to show up to these spaces and share them out. That's all we ask, is that you show up and you share out the information to your other platforms. Unfortunately, we live in a world where we do get suppressed, and it doesn't matter how small your account is. If you out, even if you just get one person to see the information that we've got, you are doing something to help. So please make sure you're following American Mission and share out the space, because it is recorded, and so people can go back and listen to it. You would be surprised at how many people. Anastasia, and then we'll go to Tasha real quick, and then we'll go to Windows.
And maybe some of these people have spoken before can drop down. We got a couple new people that want to kind of maybe jump in at the end.
Okay, I just have a quick thing to talk about, because I go to the farmers markets a lot. And if there's anybody in the Central Valley or representing the Central Valley, wouldn't the farmers be a good group to target as far as, really going and talking to them and trying to get them to vote Republican?
Yes,
Is anyone doing that?
I
that's
don't.
you, Anastasia.
Me?
Well, actually,
I talk to the farmers at the farmers market because they drive down here, but I'm not in the Central Valley. So.
Anastasia, even down here in Los Angeles, I work with a church. It's actually the space where one of my local CRA chapters holds their monthly meeting. And
Okay, so
Hold on, Tammy. Hold on. Hold up.
And we actually
Steve's
have.
talking. I don't think you could. Hold on, Steve.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry, Tammy. I need to drop you down. You couldn't hear Steve. Steve was talking, and
okay.
then we're happy to let
And
you
I think
answer too.
Darren
So
knows a
sorry
lot of
about that. Go ahead,
farmers
Steve.
too.
I am in a farming family. Yes.
Right. And we have we have several pastors that run food banks, and they actually have been talking to the local farmers that are close in the Bakersfield area, because that's one of the closest areas for us down here in LA. And absolutely, they're coming up with creative solutions that are very rooted in conservative ideology. And we have a lot of help, and with the Republican Party and with Republican candidates and whatnot coming from that region, because of the pastors at the various churches within the inner cities that recognize what can be done with the when there's oversupply of food that can be utilized at a discounted rate to these nonprofits, etc. So definitely we are reaching out to the farmers, and yes, they are definitely conservative.
Yeah, and also, so, about what the food supply, what they're doing. If you want to get greater and talk about globalist stuff, they are trying to. I don't know what Newsom has been doing because he's one of them, but they don't want. They're trying to limit food production, stuff like that. I was wondering if any of those farmers have been hit by any of that.
Yes, it's the water issues that are more pervasive than anything. So my in-laws have about 3,000 acres in Imperial Valley, and the biggest issue, frankly, is water curtailment. It's their ability to actually they're limited on what they can get out of the ground. They're limited on what they can use. We have 90% of the water in the state goes right out to the ocean. We're spending $100 billion on a train to nowhere instead of building critical infrastructure to store water, or instead of building systems to pump water. Quite literally, let their crops die off. Meanwhile, it's such a bad year in the rest of the country that it's usually like 25%. This year we're looking at 40% of all food resources for the nation are coming from the state of California, and we're seeing them quite literally eradicate all of our farmers. So I mean, this is they're definitely all conservative, but at the same time they have no allies, no voices, no nothing, especially in this.
Hey, Scotty, you have a hot mic. I'm just gonna mute you because the feedback is killer. So sorry about that, Darren.
All right, so let's go to Tasha really quick because she is the one who coordinated all of this.
Well, hold on, Kim. Tammy just wanted to also address the question, so I want to give her a chance because she
Oh
hasn't
yes,
really
I'm
spoken.
sorry, Tammy.
Yeah, I did, because I live here in the center, and I actually just met with all of the Farm Bureau, and listening to all of these older gentlemen, generations, I'm talking like 5 generations of farmers, and they're telling me it's not really the water, it's not really the fertilizer, and it's not the equipment, it's they can get by if the government stopped regulating the problem. So what they need is for us to step up and say stop it and leave them alone, because they are our food and they are our backbone. They are who feeds us, and what the government wants to do is bring in food from outside sources, and we're not going to let that happen in California or in the USA. So that's what I have to say about that.
It's so crazy. I mean, it really is just crazy. All of it's just, All right, go ahead, Tasha.
Although the Chevron deference ruling should
Yes.
bring some much needed relief to the farmers and the Farmers
Yeah, and
Bureau.
we the
So
people need to put the
hopefully we'll be
pressure on to
able,
make that happen. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can't let
for
them go
sure.
backwards on that one. We're going to keep that guy.
So I'm just popping on to say that candidate Joe Rube is here in the listener position, and I think he needs to come up to the mic and say something before the space ends. And I want to thank you.
Well,
Oh,
actually,
go ahead.
real quick, Kim's actually going to keep the space open for a
Oh,
few minutes, so this way all the candidates get to speak
wonderful.
and all that good stuff. Yeah, Kim,
So
Who's
I'm
he
going to
gonna?
has
take
to
it back.
know to
You're supposed
raise
to
his
jump in
hand
here and
or
help me.
bring him
And
up.
we're gonna
And
need to
then
drop a couple.
secondly, Oh, sorry. I
We're
just
just
want to add
saying
before Jen leaves, and Kim, thank you so much, and Bob, for all your coordination behind the scenes. They've been working very hard to put this together for a while, and I'm very grateful to you.
thank you, Tasha.
We can do this again anytime, guys. We are. I'm so hopeful to see everybody coming out for California, and we can make these rooms bigger and bigger as we get closer to the election. I mean, that's what we're here is to elevate your voice and amplify it, and get people more aware of these good grassroots candidates, because it's going to take all of us.
Hey, Julie, are you in California?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I can't get rid of you then. Window Pet, I know you're next, but you've already spoken, and we need to get a candidate up on stage who hasn't spoken yet. So could you take one for the team, and I'll knock you down, and you can leave
Yeah, I'll
requests?
take one
I'll drop down.
for the team.
Oh, okay. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Sorry. I wish Elon would give us more speaker spaces. That would be wonderful. So we don't have to do this. Okay. Go ahead, Kim.
All right, I got Joe up here. He's coming.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you,
Yes.
Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe Roubaix. I'm the candidate for State Assembly District 16. That's Orinda, Lafayette, Moraga, Walnut Creek, Danville, San Ramon, Dublin, and Pleasanton and Livermore. A lot of cities. Um, Again, it's one of the assembly districts, and as you know, and it's probably the biggest problem that we are outnumbered in the state of California. We are correct in all the issues as we've been talking about, especially issues like crime. It's really unconscionable how the party that's in charge is actively making crime worse. My opponent is on record for supporting no cash bail, and we just have to get out there, like the panel has been saying. We have to meet the people and say, here we are. What we need is some common sense up in Sacramento.
Jeannie.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Sorry, it was a little long getting you on stage.
No, thank you for having me.
We need common sense all over this country. That is for sure.
Yes.
Let me just add, in the Constitution, Article 4, Section 4 says that each state has to guarantee that they provide protection from domestic violence. And when they allow this no cash bail, they're letting the people be subjected to domestic violence. And so, yeah, we need to call once again. It's shame on us as we the people for not calling these guys out. So I just want to encourage and put a fire in everybody to know your constitution and to start calling out your local reps, your state reps, and your U.S. U.S. Congress reps.
And if you don't know your Constitution, there's a show on it's on YouTube. It's called Constitution Alive. It's a 13-part series, and it is absolutely fabulous. I highly recommend it for you, your children, everybody. We do need to get a brush up on our civics because the Constitution doesn't need to be rewritten. It needs to be reread, as my friend Carla likes to say.
Yeah, so I'd like to ask a question of the room real quick of the candidates on stage. Something that's very near and dear to my heart is the border and the border wall. When you get elected to the position that you're running for, what are you going to do to try to curb the illegal immigration in this problem, but also getting that border wall finished on our southern border?
I'll take a stab at it first. So I think any government should focus on the health, wealth, and security of its own citizens before it focuses on other things. So from Congress, yeah, what we need comprehensive immigration reform. So we need a transparent system that prioritizes younger, able-bodied immigrants, those with job skills that the country needs, and those that actually have a command of the English language so that they can integrate and assimilate fully into life. And you cannot have respect for such a system if you are going to have line jumpers that are going to be rewarded with gift cards and free healthcare in California as soon as they make the cross over the border. So I think what we should do is we should allow a no fault application to everybody who's crossed over illegally in the last 4 years, meaning we should allow them to apply to the system. We should deport them to their last country of origin, wherever they crossed in, and then have them be ranked on a list, same as you would rank applicants for a job or for college.
And I,
Great. Thanks, Alex.
What do you think?
Go ahead.
I'd like to, if I may, I'd like to take a stab at that one as well, because
Well, hold on. Tammy, I think Steve went first, then we'll go to Tammy. Steve, go ahead.
yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, just to co-sign with what Alex said, and I would fight side by side with exactly what he said. We have to stop the bleeding at the border first. In terms of figure out logistically how we could implement some type of deportation and get to the back of the line and reapply. And we do need to overhaul. I mean, we had Ellis Island on the East Coast. I can't remember the name of the island up in San Francisco that was supposed to be the West Coast Ellis Island. That never materialized for
Angel Island.
Yeah, correct. There you go. And so we need to implement something like that, since most of the immigration is coming through Latin America and the Asian continent. And so definitely in Congress would fight to first secure the border and then come up with comprehensive immigration reform.
Go ahead, Tammy.
All right. So my idea is, first of all, we need to send them back to where they came from and let them come in here legally like they're supposed to. And my thought is we need to take a lot of money that is supposed to be allocated for the IRS and put that into real port of calls, or like Ellis Island and Angel, so that people have a place to go and they do it properly. But we need to have reform. Absolutely. But I say take the money from the IRS and let's put some people there that are really that will really be law enforcement, and then finish the wall.
I think you could take money from all of the agencies that need to be trimmed, and we should be doing that absolutely.
So, you mind if I chime in?
Go for it. I can't wait.
Yeah. So, having worked in law enforcement and been shot at by cartel members with U.S. weapons, it's a bigger problem than just being able to deport people. Close the border or deport people. I mean, it sounds really great, but it's completely unrealistic and unreasonable in practice, and it does absolutely no good unless you vilify and stop it from other countries, right? And that's narcotics interdiction. We dealt with the same people over and over and over and over and over again within a year's time frame, because we deport them, they come right back. It does absolutely no good just to send them on back. It's like plugging 1,000 psi hose with a wine cork. It does no good. And maybe this is a bigger part of the issue, right? Like we're not looking at real tangible solutions. We're looking at like, oh, send them back, close the border. It's not that simple. You can do things and you can deport and you can put policies in place and you can, especially as enticing it as California, and be free from extradition risk. And then you can go end up raping and killing Rachel Marin after committing a violent robbery in Southern California.
I'm waiting for a solution to be proposed. Sorry.
Right. And that's the reality. It's not that simple. Like the reality is, their healthcare, no more free insurance, no more handouts, no food stipends, no housing. You make it so people want to come across for the opportunities presented in a meritocratic society, not for free shit. It's really that simple. So on that note, I've actually got to dip out of here. I appreciate it, and I'll leave everyone with this. Politicians are a lot like diapers. They should be changed frequently and for the same damn reason.
I really like you.
They're called push factors and pull factors.
Yes.
That's what he's referring
Yes.
to.
And here's the problem. So we've got all these people that are, getting thousands of dollars a month. And when we take that away, what do they do? I think that the crime rate's going to go up tremendously. All right, let's go to
Hey, Kim,
Julie.
I got to drop.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Bye.
Let's go to Julie.
Thanks, Jennifer.
And then we'll go to Window Pet. Bye, Jen. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks you guys. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, so Julie Threed, I'm up here in Butte County. Yeah, we just need to build the border wall, like on the southern border of California. I don't think it's that big, and there's a chain link fence that people are pouring through right now. But anyway, so I ran for supervisor here in Butte County in March, and unfortunately, I ran into a buzzsaw called my Butte County GOP, and it was pretty disappointing. They don't support America First candidates, and I was running against the establishment incumbent, a Republican who never went to one single GOP meeting, or the Republican Women Federated meeting, nothing. But I show up and I've been volunteering there for 5 years, but unfortunately, I'm fighting the medical establishment, and that's my hill and my platform. Not only did my Butte County GOP refuse to give me 10 minutes on their agenda to, introduce myself, which they already know me, but anyway, they actually came up with a document that said the only people they will endorse is the person with the most money, name recognition, and is the incumbent. I kid you not. So there's something broken. Maybe it's just Butte County, and Red Pill and I are going to do something about that. But I wanted to offer something to you guys all on the call, and because obviously I lost. But I will keep fighting another day. So my hill is medical freedom. Okay, I'm vaccine injured. I worked at the public health clinics here, and I'm a whistleblower. So we're going to and the bloated budget that is public health. If anybody needs any information, any talking points, wants to get, a way to get through the uncomfortable conversation, call me, DM me, and I'm available. Americansforhealthfreedom.org. I put that into the link into the bubble. Denise Aguilar is the only person here that has signed that. Again, what that says, it's a simple pledge. It says, you want these mRNA COVID vaccines stopped immediately, and you won't take any money from Big Pharma. Super simple. Latipo signed it. There's a bunch of senators that have signed it, but Denise signed it currently on as a candidate. There's a couple of people in office. I think Sue Frost from Sacramento. But anyway, if you could go take a look at that website, reach out to Dr. Mary Talley Bowden and just tell her, yeah, add my name to this list. I think it'll give you a big boost. And again, if you need any talking points, again, it's one of those uncomfortable conversations, let me know. And again, thank you for the space. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Julie.
Appreciate you.
Hey guys. Okay, so this is my question for the candidates. I hear a lot about grassroots work and working grassroots and with people. Prop 47, if most of us should be aware, has been a huge problem for the past 10 years. And there were over 900,000 signatures. I was part of that group of people that helped get those signatures to get Prop 36 on the ballot. So my question is, you guys, are the candidates familiar with Prop 36, and are you supporting it, and are you talking about it as you're running? Because that would be something that would connect you to a lot of just the average people who, have been suffering from the public safety issues in our state.
Yes.
So
Oh, go ahead, Alex. I was just going to mention Alex down here in Los Angeles, Alex Balekian. We have Patrick Gibson, another candidate, Suzette Valadares. We have a huge grassroots effort for Prop 36. We support it and whatnot. All of us throughout LAGOP, were very, very active. Every Republican club meeting, from young Republicans to the CRA groups to even college Republicans, the farmers markets, we were getting signatures. And so, yes, we fully support it down here.
And also, do any of you have any of the marketing materials yet? I'm going to get a hold of Greg Totten and a couple of the other people who have been involved to see if we can get them, but I don't know if anybody else has received anything yet.
I have not. I know that we've been creating our own. I know Alex has created a lot of stuff on his side, as several other candidates.
And I just want to say, I'm Armenian. I live in the largest Armenian district in the country, and especially with immigrant populations, there is so much lack of knowledge about the process, about things, and all these propositions, all the different propositions, people, even native-born Americans who speak English perfectly, their eyes glaze over, and they are so overwhelmed by everything because it's always just Trump, Trump, Trump that they're hearing.
Exactly.
So it's really, so what we have to do is, I tell people this. It's not a sledgehammer strategy. It's a scalpel strategy, and this is where I think that why the Republicans have suffered so much over the last 10 to 15 years is because our messaging has not been as simple and as targeted. as the Democrats have been, because the Democrats tend to have kind of younger, fresher people who just do the social media and stuff. And so, for example, for the ethnic parents, the Latinos, the Armenians, the Koreans, it's all about kids, indoctrination, trans. Like that's all it is. They do not care about the crime. We have West Hollywood and Hollywood. That's where you get the younger people who are more woke, so to speak, but they're already souring on, all of these restorative justice things. So it just really depends. You have to know your audience. But yes, we are doing that. But as far as, Prop 36, a lot of people, their eyes glaze over and we just say, do you think crime is high? Yes? Okay, vote for me because the other people want to keep it as it is. Like the messaging has to be super simple.
I like it. And I also really like Scott Pressler's tactic when he talks about, your kids are going to have to go to war. Or you younger people, it's not going to be us older people that are going to have to go to war. It's the younger people that are going to have to do it. So they keep voting in these policies and they keep voting in these people that are warmongers. And uh, it's just going to, they're kind of digging their own grave, so to speak. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, thanks, Kimberly. Speaking of kids, I got to get back to my family. It's 7 over here in California. We're going to have dinner. But I just want to say to everybody, we do spaces every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. That's what we've been doing. We actually just had Julie on last night. We had a great time. So if you're in California, you want to get connected to Patriots and you want a great place where we can all talk and inspire each other, I think we're going to, and I think a lot of us realize we're going to be in for a wild ride the next 4 months. So let's stick together. Let's, know your lane, know your purpose, and your compass with God. I'm a Christian. I mean, we're going to need to be anchored because I think it's going to get. I mean, ever since COVID, it's just been an escalation, a nonstop escalation of craziness, and I think it's just going to get more and more crazy. So. This is a great time to be alive, and I'm super happy to be with you, Kimberly and Tasha, for putting this together. And so I'm going to step out and rock on. Let's go
Yeah,
California.
we're going to wrap this space in a minute. Thank you so much for your help. I really appreciate
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
And guys, if you're new to X Spaces, welcome. This is the place to be. The conversations that you hear, you can put in your AirPods and just get in spaces and listen because this is where things are happening. We are making a difference. It really, really, really is important that you guys get into this platform and get on stage and talk. And I mean, the smartest people I've ever encountered in rooms, like solving problems and arguing about things and practicing the civil discourse and practicing discernment. This is such a very, very important tool that we all need to get behind. And Adam, I know you wanted to say something before we wrap this, but I really appreciate everybody being here, all of the candidates, all of the speakers, great questions. And I hope that you guys got something out of this. Like I said, up in the bubble or up in the nest, there is a list of all the candidates you heard from that has their donation pages on it. Every little bit helps. It also has their contact information so you can get in touch with them. So go ahead, Adam, and then we'll go to Tasha.
Hey, thanks. And thanks for bringing me up as a co-host. The problem with that is sometimes you can't hear the other people speaking. They got to fix spaces in this regard. Great conversation, great speakers all around. I liked a lot of what I heard. I hear a lot of people come together on commonalities and, things that we need as Americans put in place and, held to account. Let's just say. One thing I did want to mention in regards to the immigration conversation, what you're talking about is like all these push and pull factors. Before Joe Biden got in office, or I don't know when this happened, you needed, as an immigrant, you needed a sponsor, as in somebody that's going to financially support you till you get on your feet here in the U.S. and can support yourself. That was, you needed a sponsor as you're going through the immigration process. My sponsor was my father when I moved here at the age of 4. He was supposed to apply for me and my mother and my father. Unfortunately, the lawyer left me out of it, out of the the application for some reason. It screwed me up. And my dad had to sponsor me at 16. State that he was my sponsor. He died before he got a month before he got his citizenship paperwork. And my mother I had to reapply all over again with my mother as my sponsor. So you need sponsorship as an immigrant. You did, but now they're giving you sponsorship from the taxpayer dollars, which is criminal in my opinion. I'll land with that. Thank you so much, Kim. Great space. Everybody that spoke, amazing. Keep up the hard work and make America great again.
Thank you, Adam. Go ahead, Tasha.
I just want to pop on because Joe Shoemaker wanted me to mention, I'm sorry, Jim Shoemaker, my apologies, that he's having a fundraiser in Orange County and he'd really love to have some support from anyone who's down in that area. So look out for Jim Shoemaker. He spoke earlier and he's at an event right now with Denise Aguilera as well. They had to step out of the space. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Yes. And guys, just stay connected. This app is a place where we can actually have free speech, and it's important that we support it and we support Elon and we support these spaces and each other. So I'm, like I said, I'm very hopeful. California is worth saving and we got to do it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.